There are 80 local cases of coronavirus, additional cases in today's numbers. 67 of those are linked to known outbreaks. 13 of those have their acquisition source still under investigation. 39 were in isolation for the entirety of their infectious period. That takes us to a total of 600 active cases, 596 locally acquired and 4 that are overseas acquired. There are 36 people in hospital, 11 in ICU, 8 on a ventilator. 56,248 test results were received. 56,248 test results were received yesterday, which is a fantastic outcome. We thank every single one of those nearly 56, well, more than 56,000 Victorians who have come forward and got tested in the last 24 hours. Those results are still coming back to people, the vast majority, well into the 90% within, well, that is received the following day. So our labs are working very well. The queues are not that long, and we'll get you results as soon as we possibly can, but we're deeply grateful to each and every one of those people for going and getting tested. The key point, though, is to get tested as soon as you possibly can. So when you register symptoms, you can't wait 7 and 8 days, as regrettably some of today's positive cases did wait a long time before they went and got tested, which meant they were in the community. They were out there unknowingly infecting other people, and often the people that they love the most, their family, their very close family, their immediate family and friends. You've got to go and get tested as soon as you get symptoms. Otherwise, you will almost certainly give this to all the people that you love, and this is not a good thing to get. A lot of people get very unwell when they are infected with this Delta variant. So every day we stand here and we talk about the need to get tested and the need to do that promptly, and the reason is, if everyone gets tested as soon as they register symptoms, we will slow the rate of this spread, we will drive down the number of cases, and we'll protect more and more people from serious illness, hospitalisation, and even worse than that. So it's not just a line, like it is absolutely critical. If you've got symptoms today, get tested today. Don't wait a week, don't wait an afternoon. Get tested as soon as you register those symptoms. Otherwise, you'll just be spreading this virus, and that's not in anybody's interests. Big day of vaccinations yesterday, 33,932, our biggest day in state hubs ever, and we're going to continue to see those records being set and reset. That is a fantastic day, and we thank all of those who came forward. Nearly 34,000 people to get their vaccines yesterday. I will see those numbers continue. I know that yesterday was a challenging day with more than 1 million people trying to book just a few 100,000 appointments. That's challenging, but I can tell you that the system does work. It is one of those things where it is inevitable that you finish up with so much demand for such a precious and limited quantity of product. It will be challenging. But our household Grace got her appointment around dinner time last night after having been on and off the website from 6 AM yesterday. So no different to any other family. I can tell you the system does work. She's got an appointment on Sunday. But not all of her friends were able to get appointments yesterday. But I would encourage people to go back, to stick with it. It's worth the wait, because it is our way out of restrictions. It is our way out of having our hospitals overwhelmed. It's our way back to a normal life. So everybody getting vaccinated is such an important part of that. To that end, yesterday we had about 200,000 bookings made. We would normally have about 30,000 bookings made. So that gives you a sense of just how much demand there is and just how much additional capacity we've been able to deal with. But again, when you've only got a few 100,000 doses for more than 1 million people, that does make it challenging. But I would say to people, there are still appointments available, there's still vaccine available. There'll be further announcements made in coming weeks as extra shipments arrive from the Commonwealth, as they have promised, and as soon as we have clarity about when we're getting supply, we'll put additional appointments into the system, and we'll be standing here and telling people to go online and book. So that 80%, that race to 80% is incredibly important for all of us, and every single jab plays an important part in us getting to that milestone. I'd encourage people to go back online. You have to be patient, there's no choice, but there are appointments being made. In fact, 200,000 of them were made yesterday. In terms of Shepparton, I just wanted to give a shout out to the people of Shepparton. They are doing an amazing job. It's a tough and proud and incredibly resilient community up in the Goulburn Valley, but this is a bit different to circumstances they faced in the past. Because there's so many primary and secondary close contacts, around 16,000 in a community the size of the Golden Valley. That's a lot of people who are at home having to do 14 days of ISO. Some of their circumstances may change depending on test results, but at this stage they're all in. The assumption is for the full 14 days. That's very big impact on lots of industry. So the post office has been affected, supermarkets have been affected, distribution centres have been affected. Every part of life in Shepparton and across the Golden Valley has been impacted by the fact that so many people are not at work. They don't necessarily have the virus, but the assumption has to be that they've been exposed through schools, through shopping centres, through all sorts of different exposure sites. So what we've done, I've asked Deputy Emergency Management Commissioner Deb Abbott to go to Shepparton. She's gone up there last night. She'll essentially be in partnership with other senior officials across government, particularly from the Department of Families, Fairness and Housing, who will be coordinating emergency relief. She will be running that as if it were no different to a bushfire or a flood. That emergency management architecture will be in place, but it will be, in the main, very simple things. Taking food to people's doorsteps, getting scripts filled, doing all those sort of things. I spoke with Susanna Sheed yesterday. Her and her office are doing an amazing job supporting her local community. Deputy Commissioner Abbott and Susanna were speaking just after I spoke with Susanna last night. So everybody's working together. Everybody's focused on getting everyone in Shepparton the things that they need when they need it. I want to thank the people of Shepparton for the amazing way in which they have joined together to look out for each other and to fight this virus. This is special though. It's different than it was last year, with so many people unable to perform key functions. That's why we're there to help out, and there are substantial additional people on the ground today, and that will build over time with public servants, general duties people from all across regional Victoria in the main. We don't want to have Melbourne people going there for fear of taking the virus with them, but if we can have mainly regional Victorian public servants go and help out, again, dropping off food parcels, doing all those sorts of practical but very important things. We'll stick with the community of Shepparton and give them all the support that they require in this their time of need. I might just add that we've provided some additional support to Food Share. I think to the Red Cross and others, they're playing an important part in our response as well. But we'll keep you regularly updated. I think Jerome may have some additional information about the Shepparton outbreak, but we'll keep you updated about how our support in Shepparton and the needs in Shepparton change and evolve over time. But everybody in Shepparton and the Golden Valley can know and be absolutely certain that we've got senior people on the ground, we're doing what has to be done, and we will support you in any way that we possibly can. We thank you for the sacrifice you're making, staying at home, not just protecting your local community, but indeed protecting the entire Victorian community. There will be a request, I think, for some ADF personnel. That'll be made through Emergency Management Victoria to support us in that work. As soon as we're in a position to be able to update you on that, we will. That'll be a matter that'll be led by Commissioner Crisp. Beyond that, I would just say to people, we want to see these numbers come down. We had a few days where that was the trend. Brett's going to speak a little bit about where we're at in terms of the outbreak and as he sees things unfolding over coming days. But the clear message from me, and I think the clear message, just the common sense message, is these rules will work. These numbers will come down and continue to come down if people follow these rules. So one of the rules, one of the really common sense practical things you can do, if you've got symptoms today, get tested today. Don't, for heaven's sake, as some have, wait 8 days and literally infect everybody you come anywhere near in that 8-day period. Please don't be visiting friends. Please don't be visiting family, because the visitor that no one knows about is the coronavirus. You are taking it with you to the people you love. You don't want them to get sick. So don't act in a selfish and irresponsible way. The rules are there to protect people. The rules are there to drive these case numbers down, and if you do the right thing, then this will be over much sooner than it otherwise will be as we race to that 80% vaccine target. Can I thank everyone who is getting tested? Can I thank the vast majority of Victorians, millions of Victorians who are following the rules? And I just reiterate to those who aren't, you don't get to choose for the rest of us. You don't have that right. You need to do the right thing, and you need to follow these rules, and that means no one to your house, and you're not going to anyone else's house. Stay at home. It's very simple. Stay at home or you will spread this virus, and then we will all be locked in for longer. That is not what that's not our strategy. That's not what we're working towards. But we don't have enough people vaccinated today to be able to let these rules off. Just finally, there's a lot of commentary about schools. I understand how challenging it is. We've got two, admittedly, they're older kids, two school-age kids at home. Now, Brett's got three younger school-age kids at home. We know and understand this is very, very challenging. But I just want to say to those, there's been a bit of commentary out there about, oh, well, why don't you just open them up? Well, as difficult as homeschooling is, I think opening schools up against medical advice and literally thousands of kids getting quite sick is even worse. So, again, I've made this point a number of times. People are entitled to their views. People are entitled to criticise. They're entitled to have, you know, theories and views on all manner of things. That's fine. No one's criticising that. But at some point, the question has to go back. Well, what's your alternative? And if the best you've got is open the schools against medical advice, and then have kids bring this home into family after family after family, that's not a strategy that I will pursue. They are not choices that I will make. They're not real options, in fact. They're not real options at all. This is incredibly difficult for everybody across Victoria. We know and understand that. That's why we've all got to commit and then recommit to following the rules, doing the right thing, and continuing to drive these numbers down. We have done it before. We can do it again. In any event, there is no other option than to pursue this strategy, and if you're doing it, you might as well do it properly. If you're doing it, you might as well aim for the best possible outcome. Only time will tell whether that can be achieved. But there's no other option. That's why New South Wales is locked down. That's why every other state has at various points locked down. It's why the Prime Minister and every leader in this country have signed up to exactly this policy. And it's why the national plan is so important, that we get to 70 and we get to 80, and then we can have so many of our freedoms back. Hopefully we have options before then, because we've kept numbers low and they continue to fall. That's the plan. If there was another way, of course we would choose that. Of course we would. There simply isn't. I now might ask Jerome to go through the map of all the outbreak, the links in the chain, and then I'll ask Brett to speak to you about where he sees things in terms of the context of this outbreak in the days and weeks to come. And then we're happy to take any questions you have.